Okay, we're live.
Live and ready.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, hey guys, so we're trying a new like streaming platform to like broadcast this to Facebook. So yeah. But I'm Jordan. This is Nicole. I don't know for who doesn't know us. Yeah, I'm Jordan. I am a mom of 3, stepmom of 1, nurse, high ticket sales. I have a high ticket sales business. And I help do some stuff for my boyfriend's steel business. So yeah.
I'm Nicole. I am a mother of 2, a stepmother of 3. So we have a beautifully blended full family. I help my significant other run his asphalt company. I manage the office there, and I do my high ticket sales on the side. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna talk about kind of like a mindset focused interview, if you will, with each other here, and just kind of talk about the different ways that changing our mindset has helped us throughout our life, really, and then
Yeah.
more so going into doing with our sales. So, with that being said, Jordan, what was the moment you realized your mindset was holding you back, and what changed from that point on?
I guess I guess like one of the things is like my mindset around like wealth and money and just the fact that like, and sometimes I don't even know if it's like I'm doing it like consciously. I feel like sometimes maybe it's unconscious, but just like having that mindset that like, oh, I can't ever be that successful, or like I'll never be that successful, or I'll never have that much money. And so then I guess just kind of like changing my mindset around that, because we are all worthy of having all of those things. And it's just putting your mind to it and doing it. But yeah, and just changing that mindset to be like, I mean, I want my kids to see me be that confident person who's like, we can have those things, you can have those things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, like I've always, even since I was a young girl, I've always had kind of a spiritual tie, I think, like in that sense. And I've always, in a mindful sense. And so I've always tried to be the person, like the cup half full kind of person, throughout my entire life. And which, I mean, mindset is even like that, like it can be something that simple, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here. You know what I mean? Like going through your life and always being like, okay, well, I could look at the downside, which made the cup go emptier, or look at the other side. And so I've always tried to be that kind of person throughout life. And then I think once we get older and get a lot more responsibility on our life, you start having kids and you get all the bills and the vehicles and all the things. I feel like we get to a point where it's a little bit harder to hold that mindset and not have those other ones coming in and constantly kind of eating away at you.
For sure.
So there were moments in my life where I actually had to step back and be like, okay, we're getting to the point where my cup is dwindling more so than I am bringing it back up again. So I got to the point there too where I kind of had to realize that that's where I was at, and kind of had to shift myself back into that mindset throughout stuff too. So yeah, like I said.
Well, and it makes things like less stressful almost, like if you can step back, like I don't know, our leaders, like how they say, they're like, instead of like looking at like this bill, like, oh my gosh, I have to pay this bill. Why not be like, thank goodness I have money to pay this bill so that my lights stay on, or so
Mm-hmm.
that we have heat in the house, and like almost turn it into like, I'm grateful for this versus like I have to do this.
Absolutely.
And Haley, one of our business partners, she said last week, you know, they had found that they needed, there was something with their water heater or whatever, and basically it could have like exploded or something, okay? And so like at first she was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so much money, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, I decided to be like, you want to know what? Let's be grateful that they found this issue before, like, you know, it blew up their house or, you know, what
Mm-hmm.
have you. And so it's just, if you can look at things in that way versus all the ho hum stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's definitely it's so much easier to let those other things
Yeah.
take, you know what I mean, take that away. I mean, being mindful and having a different mindset, it takes work. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
not always the
practice.
easiest thing to do. Yes.
Right.
Um to where, I mean, you really kind of have to check yourself quite a bit throughout the day.
Yeah.
But mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want change but don't take action. What do you think the biggest mindset block is that keeps people stuck?
So of course we all, you know, want something better for ourselves. I feel, you know, I don't know, and maybe not. Maybe you're in the position to where everything's fine and you don't need
And you're
anything to change.
comfortable.
Right.
Right.
And whatever, if that's what you're comfortable with, that's great. I personally am always that person that is, what's next? What, you know, what can I change to make something better? And that's with everything. That's with my finances. That's with, you know, something in the house. That's with whatever. So I think the biggest mindset block would have, I mean, honestly, it's themselves. You
Right.
know, and wanting to stay in the comfortableness of their life and who they are. And like I said, if you're fine with that, then fine, be there. But if you do feel that there is something that you need to change, I say it all the time, change doesn't happen unless you change something, you know. So
Mhm.
and that's really it. The biggest thing is you yourself. I mean, you have to push yourself through something that might be a little scary. Fear, I guess, would probably be the biggest block for
Yeah.
people, to have that mindset to be like, nope, that's it. I'm going for it. I'm getting it. I'm going to get what I want, you know?
Yep.
Um, yeah, I guess that's a fear is probably the biggest thing, is what I would say with that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think there's, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a few different things. Fear probably being one of the biggest ones, but also like I feel like a lot of people also get stuck in like the victim mindset.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just kind of like, I don't know. Poor me, everything happens to me. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
just to, I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess
No, I
I
could
think
agree with that.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, you know, like if people are like, "Oh, if you could go back and change one thing, what would it be?" And my answer is and always will be nothing. I would
Right.
change nothing. I might have like changed my like reaction to it, but as far as like the thing happening itself, I wouldn't change it because everything is kind of like, you know, a domino effect. So like if I went back and I changed one thing, then I'd have to change everything that happened in my life after that.
Well, and yeah, right. And well, and that would essentially take things away from your life that is worthwhile.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And so I think just to like take the challenges or, you know, negative things that happen in our life and learn from it, then,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, it's really not that bad. I don't know. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of who I'm becoming. And it's all of those experiences that have like made me who I am.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. Mhm. Yeah. Okay, what's one mindset shift that completely changed the way you show up as a parent, a worker, or an entrepreneur?
so I'm gonna go with a parent mindset on this one. So I grew up, I mean, my dad wasn't super strict, but my mom and my stepdad were very strict. And I swear I couldn't do anything ever because they thought that I was like doing the worst thing possible. And I'll tell you what, I found a way to do all the things, even if they told me no. Like I would sneak out and then, you know, so then I like looked back and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like my parents never knew who I was with. They never knew where I was actually at. And that, as a parent, looking back on it, is scary
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, I want to know what my kids are doing. So what I decided is that so our household is a little bit different and my parenting style is more like let's talk about this. Okay? So kids are humans too and they're going to make mistakes. And I would much rather they make the mistakes while they live in my household and I can um help guide them through it to make
Mm-hmm.
better decisions versus let's shelter them and throw them out into the world when they're 18 and try to figure it out. And then, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because a kid is going to find out how to do whatever it is that they want. And I would just rather, like, I know who my kids are with, I know exactly where they're at. And, you know, if they
Because
mess,
that communication is open.
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not like afraid to tell me things.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can completely agree with you there. I mean, we're relatively close in age, and I feel like, you know, we both kind of grew up in in the old school parenting lifestyle, you know. And granted, I took on some of that myself, you know, as far as, you know, respect your elders and, you know,
Yep.
that sort of stuff. But yeah, same there for me too. With that shift with the kids, and wanting them to be able to be comfortable talking to me, so then I can help them through those points like that too. Yeah. And then mind shift, I would say, um, as far as like rolling into work and the entrepreneurial part. So for the longest time for me, and the way you grow up, I mean, everybody goes through school and everybody tells you, okay, well, you go to school and then you get out of school and then you go to college. And if you don't go to college, well, then you go find yourself a job. That's how you
Right.
start your life, right? And then whatever happens from there. So of course, that's what I did. That's what I led myself. I knew personally that I never really wanted to go to college unless I like 100% knew that I was going to use the degree that I was going to college for. But since I really didn't know what I wanted to go to college for, I never went. So with that being said, I've always, you know, I've gone through life, had the jobs, but then if I switched a job, it was always to better my pay. I would never switch a job if it, you know, demoted my pay, if you will. So that's kind of how I would go forward and kind of climb up on stuff. But then, you know, coming into this relationship here, I had the opportunity to take over the office stuff with Right Rock with Justin. And kind of, he was actually the one that was looking into the high ticket stuff. And at this point, I'm still sitting in the same boat, you know, got my job. All right, Nicole, you're doing the right thing, you know.
Right.
So, um, and he's the one that brought it to me. He's like, "Oh my God, have you seen this high tech sales stuff? We got to check this out," you know. And so I went in and I was, of course, that person, you know, like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know. And so, like I said, we both watched it. We both did the thing. And he, of course, didn't want to jump into this because he's so swamped with all of his stuff all the time anyways. He just wouldn't really have time for it. And so he's like, I think you should do something like this. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Sat and thought about it, went on the, did the call. And he's like, well, so what are you going to do? Are you going to go for it? I'm like, I don't know, babe. Like there's an investment to it. And I don't know, him and Han going through the whole thing. And then he's just like, what are you doing right now? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What am I doing? And he's like, I'm thinking logically here. Okay. Like,
Right.
why would I invest in this? I don't know what's going to happen, whatever. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, that investment is like nothing when it comes to the entrepreneur world. And like, he's like, look at what I've had to put into my company to make my company where it is now today. He's like, there's nobody that wants to be an entrepreneur that doesn't invest their money into making themselves successful. So he's like, I don't know. I don't even know why you're hemming and hawing and what you're waiting for. And he's like, and on top of that, he's like, other than your investment that you put into it, after that, there's literally no overhead. There's nothing. No. You pay your taxes. That's it. He's like, you don't have employees, you don't have unemployment, you don't, So he's rattling off all these things. Like he gave me this big, huge spiel going through it all, and I just kind of sat there and was like, light bulb moment, and so for me, like that was the huge mind shift for me. And I'm like, why did it take you so long to tell me something like like this, honey? And that was it. After that day, I was like, yeah, no, this whole way of that we've been taught to go through, like the whole life thing, the life path that we were raised on and told to live by. That was the huge mind shift for me in that day, talking to him. After that, I was like, okay, let's do this. Get on board. Here we go.
Well, because that's like, people, like you said, people are taught, okay, you graduate, you go to college. Mm-hmm. And some of these kids, okay, yeah, they know what they want to do. They go to college, whatever. And they go out into the real world and they get a job and it's all fine and dandy. But do you know how many people go to college and then they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a degree and then they get out of school and they don't even use it?
Right.
And so it's like, you just invested all that money into an education that now can't even like make you any money. And so it's like, yeah, with this business, I kind of had the same thing too, is it's like, why not? This isn't even hundreds of thousands of dollars that we have to invest,
Right. Yep. Right.
And I don't know. And it's changed. Like this whole thing is just like changed so much for me. And that was another thing too, is like when I first started, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do the social media thing. But then, right.
Yeah, here we are.
But then like our group of, leaders and mentors and teammates and whatever is so, you like watch them do it and then you're like, okay, they can do it, I can do it. Like I think we go on like TikTok or like whatever social media and we see all these like big influencers, like the Kardashians or whatever, and we think like, oh, we can't do it because we don't look like that, we don't have money like that, like whatever, and you don't need all that.
Yeah. No, this doing this portion of it has helped me grow in many, many, many ways. And then they also have us do, mindful like exercises and whatever. And that's another reason why you'll see us talk about like our why and like why we got into us, because that why and what you're looking deep inside. My why's changed like 3 times since I've started this. Because it seems like, okay, so my first time I'm doing the why, I'm like, okay, Nicole, we're going to dig a little bit here. So then I dig a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, that's it. My kids, of course. Yeah. Yes, of course, my kids, and then, and then all of a sudden I start digging a little bit deeper and, okay, well, then you're going to switch to this why. And now I feel like I actually like deep down found my major why and why it is that I do what I do. And our mentors and our leaders have us do that because that does make us grow. That makes us look at ourselves. That makes us do that mindset shift to be
Yep.
able to go out and be who we want to be at that point. So
Exactly.
being a part of this, and then books too. Like, I mean, I've always liked to read, but excuse me, now I'm doing a lot more reading than I had before. And a lot of it is on growth in who you are as a person.
Yep.
So yeah, no, amazing things in that sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So, on the days where you feel overwhelmed and doubt yourself, what do you do to tell yourself to keep going?
So a few different things. Like, okay, so I'm a person, literally, if you would let me sleep all day, I would sleep all day, for real. So I have to have like a routine. I have to have a plan. And then in what I have to tell myself is like, so say I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, okay, I really don't want to get up and do anything today. I have to tell myself that, like, once I get up and start going and doing these things, I feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And so then to just remind myself that, like, Jordan, you're going to feel better after you do these things. And as far as like, if I feel like there's a lot of things that have to be done, it's basically just like prioritizing.
Mm-hmm.
So cleaning the house is not a priority anymore. It used to be one of my priorities, and I felt like the house had to be clean or I like couldn't function, you know? But now it's just like, okay, my house is going to be here. It's going to be messy, whatever. So if I have like kids sports stuff, it's like my kids are the priority. So making sure that I get to their events, or, you know, I'm doing all the things with them. And so I guess just kind of taking all the things that I need to do and like almost like like when you compartmentalize, or
Yeah.
I mean, like kind of just like group them all together and be like, okay, like these are like the must be done things. And then these are the things that, like, okay, we'll get to that after. And then these are the things that are just like, well, if it happens, it happens. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could agree with you on that. Oh, you were froze there for a second. I could agree with you on that too, as far as prioritizing what you have going on when you feel overwhelmed. I do also, you know, kind of like to take some time to a lot of the times I'll kind of do just kind of chill. Like taking when I'm taking a shower, you know what I mean? And just kind of like take a moment and be like, okay, and just kind of clear, right, you know, just kind of clear your mind and set yourself up for the day. And that's kind of when you would, for me, when I would, you know, categorize what I got to do, what's going on, and just take that moment for myself to kind of clear things up and not have everything so chaotic in my head.
Well, and also too, like, as far as like doubting myself, because you know, self-doubt is a thing.
Absolutely.
Self-sabotage, and that's something that I'm working through. But I have a few different podcasts that I like to listen to that just kind of make me feel like, okay, no, Jordan, you are doing what you need to do. You're doing what you are supposed to be doing. And just reminding me that, like, it doesn't really matter what your situation is, where you come from, like, you can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. And so just to not doubt yourself. But yeah, so I have a few of those podcasts that I like to listen to that just kind of, you know.
Right. I think too, I think an important part, or important thing to do, I should say, and I know it's not easy, especially if you have young kids, it's not easy, but you really have to force yourself to take that time. I mean, even if it's literally 10 minutes, 5 minutes, if that's all you got, to sit down and just you know, just decompress, just whatever, close your eyes and just lay there and breathe if you got, or sit there and breathe, or it might even just be in the carpool line when you're going to pick up the kids or
Right.
whatever. You almost need to find those moments just to kind of center yourself, and you know, and I'm a big person on reflecting. Like I like to reflect back on whatever, like, you know, if I end up going through a situation and then afterwards going, oh my God, Nicole, you probably could have handled that situation a lot better. Well, then I'll go back and reflect on that situation. What could I have done better to try help those situations in the further in the future too? So it's very important to try at any possible point or opportunity that you can to
Yeah.
take those moments for yourself here and there.
Well, especially like, you know, me and you are both Capricorns, and so we're known for like being perfectionists. And so I think also like I think we're just naturally like, I don't know, get overwhelmed and like are stressed out because we want everything to be perfect. And so I think it's just realizing that things aren't going to be perfect, and then just like you said, like self-reflection and just being like, okay, you know, it's okay that this happened. We'll do it better next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just try not to be so hard on yourself.
Right. As painful as that can be sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's a belief you had about success that you had to unlearn?
I think I kind of already covered that in the entrepreneur stuff above. That would be my the biggest one. The belief that we were taught the whole time that this is how you're supposed to go through life and have success. And that's what I had to unlearn. And having that conversation with JR that day was the moment where I basically like instantaneously just went like,
Right.
oh, everything I just learned for the past, you know, 38 years or whatever is now
Yep.
completely gone. Like, no, that is not the way I'm thinking anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally agree. And also like with the, like I said, you know, we live in a small town. We live in a small community. Like that's where we've grown up. And like, so I mean, yeah, you see like successful people and whatever, but like I guess I've never like categorized myself into that. And so I guess just then like changing the belief that like, I don't know, I can be successful, and being successful doesn't mean, um, you know, that like it's not gonna change who I am, you know, because I think some people think like, oh, they're rich and successful, so they're snooty and, you know, whatever. And it's just like it changing that belief too, that like just because you're rich and successful doesn't mean that you're a bad person.
Right. Mm-hmm. What do you think some people succeed in? Excuse me. Why do you think some people succeed in this business while others quit before seeing results?
So I think because like number one, we live in a world of like instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And people just want to give up too soon. And, you know, they compare themselves to other people. So like you might have people in this business who come in and they just like rock it and they make a crap ton of money in a short amount of time. And while that's great, and they put in the work and the time and did it and whatever, it's just that like we all come from like different walks of life. So like for example, I wasn't a social media person. So maybe like someone like myself versus someone who's like, you know, 22, 23, where it's like, you know, they literally came out of the womb like making content. And, you know, so like where I had to like learn this stuff. And then also just because like I also had like some trauma blocks and money blocks and, you know, just different things. And so I just think that everyone has like a different timeline and everyone has different things that they have to work through. And yeah, I think, like I said, people just want instant gratification. And so they think like, okay, well, 3 months I've done it and nothing's working, so I'm out.
It's a scam.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite stories, because I'm a Disney freak, is the Walt Disney story that Jess always tells. And that like Walt Disney went to like 32 banks, and it was like, I don't know, the 32nd or 33rd bank that finally told him yes. And like, could you imagine if like Walt Disney would have been like, okay, I give up?
Yeah, thrown in the towel. Yeah.
It's like a multi-billion dollar company, and Disney has ties into like everything. And so it's like, if he would have believed that, like, okay, I must be crazy because none of these banks want to invest in my theme park idea, I mean, there'd be no Disney World. And so it's just crazy to think that, like, I don't know. Or like, what if, Albert Einstein like gave a shit what people thought about him, that he was crazy and whatever, and he wouldn't have like came up with the things that he did, or you know what I'm saying? Like inventors everywhere.
Yep.
If they would have given up, or whatever. I mean, I think it was the same thing with like Jeff Bezos when he started the Amazon thing. Like he started it in a garage, and people probably told him he was stupid.
Right.
And again, multi-billion dollar company that we all use worldwide.
Yep. No, I think, yes, you're exactly what you said. Like, I think just society nowadays, everything is right here, right now, instant gratification. If I don't see the results right away, then that's it. I'm just going to be done with it. So yeah, 100% agree with you there.
And, I mean, like, look at Justin and my boyfriend. Like, they started their business, and it's not like they became millionaires in 3 months.
Right.
I mean, my boyfriend's been doing it for, I think, going on 3 years now. And I mean, he's still not a millionaire.
Right.
I mean, he's ahead, but it's not like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you just gotta have no quit in you if you're gonna do the entrepreneurial route.
Yep. Well, and it's just too, like, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know why people give up so easily. I really don't. And it's sad, actually. Because I mean, yeah, I've had my days too where I'm like, okay, tired of doing this.
Right.
Not getting anywhere. But then I have to take a step back, and that's where I have to like change my mindset and be like, like, even if I never make another sale, like it's like priceless, the growth, the internal growth that I've had for myself, and just for me and my family also. And so it's just like, I am just grateful for that.
The community too, that we're a part of, and basically, we are a part of a different family now that's there to support you literally every second of the day that you would need them.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I haven't met probably 98% of these people, but I feel like, I don't know, I've known them my whole life.
Yeah.
And if I seen them tomorrow in person, it would just be like, yeah, I don't know. Like we just hang out every day, because we do like hang out every day.
Yeah.
But only online,
Right. Yeah.
So.
If you could give one mindset tip to someone who is burnt out, scared to start, or stuck in the maybe someday phase, what would it be?
I guess just start. Because I mean, I guess what I always think is like you said, Nicole, like what took me so long to finally get to this point? Like why you could have started years ago and you'd just be like way more ahead now. And so it's just like, I don't know, like step out of your comfort zone and, you're just going to have an amazing amount of growth, and it'll feel so much better because you'll step out of your comfort zone and you'll be like scared. But then afterwards you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that wasn't bad at all. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
I think a big part of that too is, us, especially I feel women, I guess I can say that because I am one. We have the kids, we have the households, we have all these things that, that we're taking care of, that we're pouring ourselves into. And I think a large part of why I am able to say I have had so much growth is because when you roll into something like this and get into something like this, you have to start pouring into yourself at that point. You have to start growing yourself, growing your mindset, learning new things, learning new strategies. So therefore, you are growing yourself. You're being forced to grow yourself if you want to be successful into having this type of business. And so I think that that is like a huge switch in that, and probably a portion of why that causes people to be like, well, pump the brakes, I have too much on my plate, I can't do this, I can't, la-di-da-di-da. But like, yes you can.
And that's why you should do it.
Right. Like the transformation is, yes, there's fear involved, yes, there's stuff involved, but you literally just go, I'm doing this.
Right.
That's it. I'm doing it. And you do it. And then all of a sudden you start finding out, like, my God, why did I think that was such a big deal? Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it just gets to the point where, we finally get to see ourselves as a strong woman building something for ourselves. And then because of that, we end up pouring into ourselves and growing ourselves to be successful.
And you get to help others do it too.
Absolutely.
And that is like, I don't know, it's just amazing to like help people and be a part of something. And especially like with us, I think we're getting into a different phase of our lives. Like with me, I mean, my kids, I'm going to be an empty nester soon, and I have been a parent since I was 18. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, when they leave, like, who am I and what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, because my whole life has just kind of been like my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I am just like so grateful that I like found this, because I don't know, I love this community. It's mine. It makes me feel good. And yeah, I'm excited to like keep growing, and I don't know. I mean, it's the possibilities are just endless, I guess.
Yep. Nope.
And I don't have to go to work every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's work. Here's
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I was wrapping Christmas presents earlier, and then like I did a call, and then like, I had some lunch, and then here we are on here again. And
yeah. What do you mean? You didn't have to go out in the negative 30-degree temperature today?
Yeah. No, just to get my packages.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose that'd be a good reason to go out.
Yeah. That's the only reason I went out. But yeah,
funny.
No, it's amazing. And yeah, I love the growth and all the things. And, I don't know, I get to be social and have a social life without, I mean, back in the day, our social life was like, what, going to the bar? Well, I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while, but not on a daily. So I just, I mean, stop doubting yourself, have faith in yourself. If it's something you want, you can absolutely go for it. And if I can do it, if Nicole can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
Like, we have all different ages, men, women, all different races, all different backgrounds. Like, we are all so different, and everyone is you know, I mean, they're successful. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, wonderful. Well, thanks for having a conversation with me today about mindset.
Yeah. I love these conversations.
Curtains. Right? I know. They're fun.
And if everyone hasn't noticed the elf back there,
yeah.
from the ceiling fan. There
My
he
kids
is.
are at the age now where they know the elf isn't real. So
Right.
now they hide. Now they put the elf somewhere, and then we all have to find it.
Yeah.
So.
My kids went through that phase too, and now they're just like, yeah, whatever. So gonna go to my nephew.
Oh,
so
fun.
but
All
yeah,
right.
so we'll hopefully be back again next week sometime. And yeah. Anybody has any comments, questions, ideas, whatever, drop them in our drop them on the video or in our chat or whatever. So
sounds great.
Okay, have a good weekend.
See you. Have a good weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye.